Obviously, I've been having some problems with my upload here, and um, probably due to my ISP, and I'm gonna have to deal with that with my boot. Now, I've got a new policy that I've started recently that I'm not gonna put any tags on my videos. Uh, it's enough that people know where my channel is, and you should know that you'll always get something out of clicking my video. You organize them yourself. And it doesn't happen today. It probably might not happen by tonight. I don't know when it's gonna suddenly pick up, but that's okay. Um, Even before I got on YouTube, I felt like I was a man ahead of my time, someone from the future. So, you know, I think there's something to that symbolism. YouTube gives everyone a chance to be an auteur. So as an auteur and a vlogger, I'm gonna make this quick. Something that is very personal to me, seeing that we are in a global crisis. Um, I was going to talk about something in the news, the politics, but then I thought, no, I really don't want to do that. Revolution is coming, but it's a little bit early. And I said 5 or 5.5 years ago, was it, that revolution is coming, and you have to decide by after 2012 whether you're going to recognize it and be on a side or not. And if you're not on a side, you're useless. Your life doesn't matter. You'll just there's no point to your life, in other words. So if you're on a side, and I'm only talking to one side now, the other side that's already decided itself, they don't listen to videos anyhow, and they certainly will not hear my voice. So my message goes out to the people that are involved with solving the problem. Like I always come back to, sometimes there's ego trips, sometimes there's drama, sometimes setbacks, and that's to be expected. We get challenged. I showed this piece of wood in the last video attempt, the webcam upload attempt, and then I showed this. It's a hairbrush. And you're saying, what is this? What is this guy? He has ADD? No, I'm just me. I'm just me. I was always looking for quality. That's obvious. But how do you get quality as far as the experience here? It doesn't mean that the video has to be quality. It does not mean that. It means that whatever people watch and what's conveyed to them as far as truth and something practical, something that's so important on the spiritual level of things, not on the level of, oh, I'm glad you told me about this thing, this gadget I need to get for my Apple computer or some shit like that. No, that's not spiritual level. Spiritual level means what can transform you to a better life, to where you can feel more aware and more like knowledge about your being. People that are not spiritual are throwing out the baby with the bathwater. And I said this before because I think the intellect of humanity is just getting wasted. Here's the thing. The reason why I don't get views, there's two reasons, okay? And here's like a confession. I used to be more like grinding or grating as far as my personality on here. I used to be, as far as like an attention whore or doing things to get noticed. Um, but nobody's out there who got noticed without, stepping on a few toes, or so some of them stepping on heads. I never stepped on any heads, but it's bad enough. So my confession is this: that I think that I lost the attention of some people in the first few years because I didn't really come out with like the important information. Um, I don't want to hear about the world. I don't want to do politics. I didn't want. But what I did was just I tried to get personal in some way without um, being like mainstream TV or a reality show. So that took its toll. Now the second thing, I said there was one thing, and that's my confession. That the second thing is the fact that people don't really latch on to a personality unless the subject matter is consistent, and that's the subject matter that they're looking for. So if someone comes around looking for conspiracy theory, or they only want to hear about 9/11, the World Trade Center, and Pentagon, or if somebody only wants to hear about, Illuminati in the music industry. Okay, let me give you a third example. If somebody wants to hear about like women's empowerment and how you can get in touch with the goddess. All these things I've touched on, but I don't do it every week, every week, every week. I just don't. I'm much more diverse. And I said that this is one of the main problems that has undermined my exposure here, my reach. I can't do it because people's thinking is too um, concentrated. They just But here I'm talking about the global crisis, and what's going on now is looks like big trouble for the presidential administration, or I should say the federal administration. There's infighting, so obviously the Republicans want to take an opportunity here, but I think it's nonpartisan because it involves the military, it involves the diplomacy. This is the so-called Benghazi attack. They call it Benghazi just because that's the name of the Libyan town. So this is infamous now. It's being called at the least negligence, but it's also being um, suggested. It's been suggested now by officials that is a cover-up. So Clinton's in big trouble, and this explains why she's retired. She wasn't sick, or she got sick because of the stress. Second of all, this is big trouble for Obama. But the thing you need to keep in mind is that this is big trouble for all of us, because if Obama and his handlers, because he's a puppet, gets painted into a corner, then what they're going to do, they'll either hang him out to dry, which they probably don't want to do. That's a difficult maneuver. They can always just make Biden fill in. So don't laugh, because Obama and him are just basically the same. There's neither one that's any better. But if they have to um, look at possible impeachment or something like that, then what they're going to do is, well, they already tried to nip it in the bud and they couldn't. What they're going to try to do is derail everything by going to war. So we're talking about Syria in that case. They've already ratcheted up because I think that they know that what's coming down the pike at Obama. So obviously nobody wants to change things in the middle of a war. That's the most BS excuse that was used since FDR. And poor FDR did his best, but they really, really wore down FDR. For all the good things that you hear about FDR, they really wore down FDR by the end. But that's a whole other story. And he wore down, and he should have retired, and he went to a fourth term. But now Obama's just in his second term. He's in the first half of his second term, and he's looking at major trouble. Okay, so this is all ties in with the global crisis. What's going on? We need better leaders. Thanks for listening. Blah blah blah. Thanks for being here for my new policy.